Very, very ready, as you can see. We switched on. How long's there to go? And there's 4 seconds left. So, hello to everybody. If you're watching, as always, please pop up and let us know who's out there and who's not out there. And if you've got any questions, comments, or anything you want to throw some abuse at one of us, then feel free.
Not being ready.
We might not read it out, though. We might not read it out. We've got some snazzy camera angles going on this morning because you'll see it bouncing around. And we've even got a side view now because we're going. I don't know why we need a side view.
You didn't warn me about that.
Well, I'm the side view is pointing on me. You're behind me.
Oh,
so
that's good.
There we go. Look, Corinne's not here. Look. Anyway, should we start? What are we doing first? Shall we do? Let's go through some news. We're just going to run through the bits and bobs that have been happening across the squad that have popped up in the community this week. So just going to run through that. And then we're going to spend about 2.5 days going through race results because we've got lots and lots of race results. Hi, Stephanie. How you doing?
Hi, Steph.
Nice to see you. Nice. So, without further ado, what have we got? So I'm going to nip onto the Do3 Community. If you're not sure what that is and you want to get involved, there'll be a link down below, down there. Is my speech lagged? Is there a delay in my speech? Anyway, I'm not sure what's coming out at your end. We got our Strava Club now. So if I just show you my screen, actually work. There we go. Look at that. We've got a Do3 Community Strava Club. So get involved. The link is the link's in within the community. And I think it's also, the link should be down below in this video description as well. If you're not, then drop us a message and we can get you involved in that. So what's happening? Paul Sawyer's just basically clearing up on there. But as he said yesterday, he's retired. So he's got lots of time to train. Should we scan through here, see what else we got? I'm putting an appeal out to see who else wants to do the Tour of Cambridge with me next year. I don't like doing these things by myself. So if you want to get involved in that, then that'd be good. I think we've got a few people. Kate, Ben File, Nashi. Who else have we got coming up on here? Stuart Mckay. We're going to talk Helen into doing it 2024, but no, she can do it. And Mary Reeves.
Do it next year.
Mary. I don't know if she's doing it, but anyway, she commented there.
I think
and we got some questions.
It was last weekend, so I think quite a few people did it last weekend, so that'll come up in the results in a bit.
Yeah. Well, should we crack on with the results? Let's crack on with the results because we've got lots and lots of them to get through. So, where are we going to start?
I think you've got some on there, but shall we start with the local ones?
Yeah.
And then work up to the internationals?
Go.
It was a busy weekend, a very busy weekend. So we'll start off with the most local one, which was the Two Castles 10K run, which Clodie was barely worth getting out of bed for that one, 10K.
Clodie gets mentioned every single week, doesn't she?
She does. Well, she races every single week, as does Becky Beasley, who also raced the Two Castles. So that's a nice local, very popular race. So well done to you two. Then, as Dave just mentioned, inspired to do the Tour of Cambridge by several people who were there this weekend. So we had, at the Tour of Cambridge, we had Simon Mills, Graham Reed, Stephen Hessian and Kate Wilson. I think Kate's a bit like Clodie. She added a bit extra in. I think did over 100 miles when the event was only 70.
Do we know why that was?
No.
Okay, all right.
So well done, Kate.
Make the most of the event.
Well done, all of you. It's depending on whether you're male or female. A female ride is 70 miles, I think, and the males do 100. I don't know why the women can't do 100. But
I'm not going to say anything about that.
So yeah, if you fancy it, it's fast and it's flat. So it's a great event. So if you fancy doing that next year, let Dave know and we'll try and get a good group together.
Yeah.
Then we had, do you want to do some?
No, I'm quite happy for you to keep talking, to be honest.
Windsor Standard, we had Mark Loosemore and Ricky Davis, who were as competitive as always against one another. I think Mark came out the winner this time. So well done, both of you. And also Heather Edwards, it was her first standard this weekend at Windsor. She did really well. Certainly has the bug now by the sound of things. She's done a sprint, done a standard, and the next thing she's looking at is
it's only one way to go from there.
Is a middle distance, probably next season now, because I think she's got a fantastic trip planned to the Himalayas in the meantime, I think.
Is she? Nice.
Very nice. Then who have we got? Rachel Brown was over doing Slateman.
Where's Slateman?
It's
Wales.
I'm not sure if it's...
Isn't that meant to be really hard?
Yes, I think so. So there are various distances at Slateman. And Rachel was doing the standard distance. And she came second age group. So brilliant. Well done, Rachel.
Shall I do some?
Yeah, you can do some.
Okay. I'm just going to read straight off your list.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if
Corinne's
that's right.
been very organised, got a list together. We needed a list today, didn't we, with all these, because I would never remember them all. Where do we get to? Camilla, Eastbourne Standard ETU qualifier.
I think it was an ETU qualifier. So that's European Championships at standard distance for next year.
What did she do?
I think it was
Within the qualifying time, we'll have to wait and see if she gets a place. Okay. Well, with these things, it's not always a definite, is it? So sometimes you find out once the results settle down a bit.
There's a certain number of automatic places.
Keep on leaning back so they can get you in the camera.
So I think there's the first 4 automatically get a place for the championships the next year, and then there's a number of places that roll down, so they get the top up to 20 people per age group. But you have to get within a certain percentage of the winner's time. So Camilla was within that time, so she will be waiting to see if she gets a qualification for next year. So fingers crossed, Camilla, hope you get there. If you don't get there this time, I bet the next one you will.
She'll get there before long, won't she?
Definitely.
What else we got?
Staffs.
Where do we get to? So staffs. It was a massive week of racing, wasn't it? So Ironman 70.3 Staffordshire. Joe Granger, who swims with Solihull. Solihull Swim Squad. So 5:18, Joe. Nice.
That's a good time, that.
It's not easy, Joe. Staffs, is it, as well, really? So well done for that, Joe. Tom Owen. Tom was on commit, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, Tom's commit athlete.
5:26. Well done, Tom. Was that your? I don't know if that was your first one, actually, Tom. You'll have to let us know. But yeah, 5:26, good time, really good time as well. And we've got Katerina. Is it Katerina?
Yeah, Kate.
Katerina. Kate. Yeah, that's thrown me because we always call her Kate. You've got a formal name down. First ever race, Kate. First ever race.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I think she enjoyed it just a bit, judging by the photos. The photos great. Looked like you were having great fun.
So you were part of the relay, Kate, and I think you did the bike leg, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going to have the bug well and truly, especially you spend time with us. It's going to be, you have no choice, really. You get dragged along to...
We'll have her on a TT bike before she knows it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then finally, Mary, who did her first, not her first middle distance, she's done quite a few of those, but her first Ironman kind of branded race, if you like. And she came second in her age group. I haven't got, what was Mary's time? I think it was just over 6 hours, wasn't it? So second in her age group, and even more impressive than that, qualified for the World Championships with that race performance in her age group. So she's off to Utah in October, I think it is. So Mary, congratulations, really well done.
Mary.
I coach Mary. I know how hard she works, and Mary is like on the up. Her trajectory of improvements and progress is like that. Every week she's beating stuff. So Olympics.
No pressure, Mary.
She keeps going the way she is. She's going to end up at the Olympics if she just keeps on improving non-stop forever. Yeah. So she will get there. So Mary, really well done. Really well done. Should we put this? Let's put this comment in. Let's see what this is from Pat. I should read it before I put it on the screen, shouldn't I? Just say thanks. Using the resistance cord helped me when I got into the pool. Yeah, so we're having a chat to Pat about... gone off a bit of a tangent here, haven't we?
Just a bit.
I was speaking to Pat about how to improve the catch. So she's got some resistance cords. And my warm-up 150 metres with 14 seconds per 100 faster than it usually is. Yes!
Brilliant, Pat.
Yeah, see? Cords. Just everyone maybe no one swims, everyone just gets cords.
She's going to have a practice at home as well now. So.
Well done, Pat. Was Pat on the list?
No, I don't think Pat was racing this weekend.
Okay.
Should we go to Diva in Chester this weekend.
Who was in Diva?
Who's in Diva?
Anyone we know?
We had 3 up in Chester for Diva. There was both the standard distance triathlon there, and we had James, who James won his age group, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Quite convincingly, I think.
Yep.
So have you got his results?
He's down
there,
here
just
somewhere,
so I
isn't he?
can-
Where is he?
The
Scroll,
details.
panic, scroll, panic, scroll. He must have commented on a different post.
Oh yes, I think he did on the what are you
Yeah.
up to this weekend? So
Yeah.
I think he was say first age group, and I think he was 7th overall or something.
Yeah.
So really
Yeah.
good result.
Nice, it's good.
For James Flack there. Well done.
Yeah.
And also racing at Diva was our very own Sarah Jane, who not content with a second place. Was that for Jane?
That was a lucky dip, that was. I don't know which button's which.
So not
That's for
content
everybody.
with getting a second place qualification slot for the World Championships in the aquabike next year. Sarah Jane won it this weekend. So first age group, 7th female overall, and another World Championship qualifying place for the standard
amazing.
distance championships next year.
This is from someone who doesn't race and doesn't want to be competitive or be out there and has no good and all this kind of stuff, isn't it?
She's far better than she believes.
Yeah.
Also doing the aqua bike was Stuart Mckay, and Stuart, I think, came second
yes.
age group.
Yeah, I believe he did. Yeah.
So
Oh, there we go. Second age group, 19th overall. Again, like Camilla, hopefully a world's qualifier or a qualifier anyway. And I guess it's just time will tell, really, to see who gets the nod from British Triathlon on that. But second age group should be in with a good shot there.
yeah, I would think so, and that's well done, Stuart, because I know you've had some time out and for various reasons. So it's good to see you back racing and getting good results again. Brilliant, well done. Where should we go next?
Should we go back on here again? So Leeds, there was a big weekend, British champs at Leeds and various other millions of different races at Leeds over, is it 3 days? 2 days.
2 days.
2 days at least. First one to mention is Charlie Marshall, who's one of our supported athletes. So Charlie was racing in the 16, 17 age category in the youth races on the Saturday, and super competitive, aren't they?
Yes,
For
very.
real speedies.
I was
going to say not
watching-
like us, but I'll exclude you from that, not like me.
I was watching that race on Saturday, and these athletes are incredible. With future stars, absolutely within that range. But the speed that they go, I mean, the races are quite short, but they are so fast. They are really brilliant. And Charlie was fantastic. I watched her finish, and she was absolutely flying.
So she had a good race. She had a good swim. So she was out on the lead group on the bike, which she was really pleased with, and obviously a solid performance all round. 4th age group, which again in that kind of field is really good result. So well done for that, Charlie. And then also at Leeds, I'm trying to move my mouse down onto your screen there. That's not going to work, is it? Also at Leeds was who should we work in to go in reverse order?
Well, they're not really in any kind of order. So
we just rattle through them then.
Yep.
So Ben File. Well done, Ben. 2:19. Goal was 2:20, sub 2:20. It's a good time actually. Anyone who does kind of standard distance racing, if you're shooting kind of less than 2:30, then that's a really good time. So 2:20, 2:19 for Ben.
Especially on that course, because it was they added an extra kilometre of running in and out of transition, and it was a challenging run course.
How do you know?
I don't know. Just watching.
Richard Barr was there as well. I've got any more updates on Richard. I think he made a comment somewhere, didn't he? Is he on here? Richard. I should have pre-planned this.
Found the swim a bit of a washing
here we
machine,
go.
which it certainly can be at Leeds.
2:38 Richard did.
2:38, excellent. The bike here, I think he got pretty much exactly the same time as last year, which the conditions this year were a bit more challenging. So so take that as a better bike than last year, and I think he paced the run much better this year as well. So I think he was quite pleased with that.
That's good.
Still determined to get faster though, as always.
Yeah, I don't think Richard's ever going to be how satisfied with not going faster is he, knowing Richard. Right, okay, who else have we got? Robin. So that was Robin, Robin's third triathlon ever?
Something like that, yeah.
Third triathlon ever, British Championships, and he came third in his age group. And again, similar to the juniors on the day before, ridiculously speedy. So amazing performance there, Robin. That should also be hopefully be a qualifier as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it confirmed?
That'll be the first 4 qualify for the European.
So they wait for their cue from British
the European Championships next year. Robin will have qualified for that.
Cool. Okay. If anyone's watching, you got any comments, you want to just say well done, whatever, then pop up on the screen. Let us know you're out there, because it's always nice to know who's there. Wherever you are, Facebook, YouTube, wherever, just put some comments down below and it'll pop up on our screen. Right, so who else we've got? Jensen, another speedy. Got lots of speedies out this weekend, haven't we? Jensen, young Jensen.
One who I think it was only his third triathlon.
So. Right, so Jensen Williams, second in his age group. What age group's that?
17 to 19.
Sickeningly young.
I think Jensen's 19, so
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Age group.
Yeah, well done, Jensen. So brilliant. Second in your age group. Again, presumably that will be another qualifier. Mm-hmm. Anita. So Anita was second in her age group. She had quite a serious mechanical. Her chain came off and got wedged, so she lost a lot of time on the bike. And despite that, got a really good second place in her age group. So who knows what would have happened if that hadn't happened. But that's the way it goes sometimes.
I think most people would probably have given up when that happened, but she's a determined athlete, and she got back on and still managed to nail silver. So
really
brilliant performance as always, Anita. Well done.
Really good. Right, should we move on to Warsaw?
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, Corinne Moss, who some of you may or may not know, also raced at Leeds and regained. There was one in between, wasn't there?
Yes, there was one in between and COVID. So it's 3 years since I was last at Leeds.
So Corinne regained her British champion title in her age group. So well done to you, Corinne.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.
That's all right. I just have to sit and watch the results on a Sunday. You actually have to do the work. So really good, really well done, Corinne. Because I know you were worried and not feeling that you were in the right place and all that kind of stuff. But as I said to her before the race, Corinne's a racer, and it comes out on race day. And did us proud there. So well done for that. Anything you want to say about that?
No. Glad it's over. Right. I'm glad it's done. It wasn't an easy race at all. So for all of us who raced on Sunday, I think it was a bit of a challenge. So
tough conditions up there.
Tough conditions and tough course.
Registering an hour before the race, racking an hour before the race.
Queuing for the toilets for 40 minutes.
also doesn't make it easy.
No.
It ramps up the stress.
Yeah.
So these things make it even more difficult.
But all races are tough, so no excuses.
Yeah, try and downplay it now. Okay, and finally over at Ironman 70.3 Warsaw, not Walsall, in the West Midlands. Paul Nash. So Paul Nash was going out there. Paul Nash is kind of specialising in the aqua bike at the moment, so really working on the swim and the bike, because he's going to the Europeans in, when is it, September?
Yeah, end of September.
So really working hard on the swim and the bike, and he PB'd in the swim and on the bike. So he had a good all-round performance there. So really well done for that, Paul. So that was really good. And then our Eloise pops in and out every now and again, doesn't she? So Eloise is a professional triathlete who used to be coached by me, and is kind of still comes along to the squad and takes part in bits and bobs, but has moved. She's moved away now. She's in Shipston, isn't she? She's still around. Anyway, so she did Ironman Warsaw as well, and got her first professional podium. So really well done, Eloise. Hopefully you kind of got some money to pay the bills now, which would be nice, because they actually get paid, the professionals, which is always nice. We'll see her in a Ferrari or something now, I guess.
That's brilliant. She's been working for a long time to get that kind of result. So
really good.
So lots of setbacks. So Really good.
Without being corny, behind all of these people are stories and journeys. It sounds really cliche, doesn't it? But we obviously know quite a lot of the athletes pretty damn well, and we know what goes on behind. And the results are just the tip of the iceberg, or just the cream on the cake, or whatever you want to say. But when you're aware of what goes on behind the scenes in the weeks, years, and months building up to that, then you realise how impressive some of these performances are. So really well done for that, everybody. Is that anybody else? Should we have a scan through the list, make sure we haven't forgotten anybody? Becky Beasley, we've mentioned, haven't we? Kate Edge. I think that's everybody, isn't it?
I think so.
I think that's everybody. Abby Roberts.
Oh, yes.
Abby over in, well, maybe we shouldn't mention Abby because she's in Thailand. So she ran Phuket half marathon. That's exotic, isn't it? Big picture of her with a piece of melon at the end there. 2:16, 9th in age group. Now she just wants to go faster.
Can't imagine running a half marathon in that heat would be tough.
Yeah.
I certainly want a piece of watermelon for the finishing.
Yeah. I think that's everybody else. So I think that's it. So well done for everybody. Let's see what we've got on here. So Charlie Pritchard. Well done everybody from Charlie. Glad you're watching, Charlie. And who else have we got? Stephanie. Awesome work, people. Right. Okay. So what have we got? Questions. We got any questions? We've got a question, haven't we? I think we just got one question today. Mm-hmm. Where is it? Here we go. It's a question here. Okay. How long gap should you leave between races? Standard distance, for example. What do you think about that, Corinne?
I don't think I'm the right person to ask that question to.
Right, where will we go with this? Okay, so it's different for different people, which is a bit of a cop-out, but that's the reality of it. Depending on the distances of the races, it's different. I think in general terms, if you're fairly experienced racer and you're used to a reasonable amount of volume, you're probably used to recovering more quickly than some other people. If you're fairly new to the sport, I wouldn't suggest you do back-to-back weekends on races, because you will still be carrying some fatigue through there. And obviously the longer the races are, then the more fatigue and the more kind of recovery time you're going to need. So it depends. It depends on how kind of, I don't know, how do you call it, really resilient, I guess you are, and what kind of fitness levels, and how well your body kind of handles the races and rigors of training and racing. Some professional athletes will do back-to-back 70.3s, certainly. Some have done back-to-back Ironmans or very close together. So at that kind of level, you can do big races quite close together. But
they wouldn't all be A races. They wouldn't all be. Yeah. They wouldn't necessarily all be aiming for sort of their best result at all of them. Some of them might be training races or whatever.
Yeah. I think just to kind of put some timescales on it, if we're talking about an average kind of amateur athlete, age grouper, I think, unless you're a real newbie, you could probably get away with doing sprints most weekends. Now, this isn't, I don't want to get into how that's going to impact on training and things, because obviously if you're racing all the time, it in fact affects the kind of the ongoing training. But if we're just purely talking about race frequencies, as long as you're a reasonably fit athlete, then you could potentially do sprints fairly frequently. That shouldn't cause you too much bother. Standard distances are obviously pretty much twice as long. Again, if you're a really well conditioned athlete, you could maybe do a couple of sprints, a couple of standard distance back to back, but I wouldn't recommend too many, and certainly no more than two. But I generally, like Corinne says, unless they're kind of really minor races and there's other reasons for doing them, you're better off kind of spreading them out a little bit and really focusing on your key races. And then going longer than that, middle distance, well, I mean, if you do have two middle distances close together, and you're kind of an average athlete, then I would certainly try and give it 3 or 4 weeks between middle distance races. Ironman distance races, it's a difficult one. It can take people 2-3 weeks to recover properly. You might feel like you've recovered, but your body might think otherwise once you start to train properly again. And then, of course, if you go straight into another race, then you might not be quite on as well recovered as you think you are. So, for Ironman races, I would certainly kind of give it 4 weeks to 6 weeks, absolute minimum. But again, it's all kind of it's all a bit kind of fuzzy, all this, isn't it? Because it depends on the races, depends on the athletes. But hopefully, give you a bit of an idea. Sprints should be all right as long as you're not an absolute newbie. Yeah, have you got anything to kind of?
No, I think, I mean, the only thing for, as you mentioned, it does impact on training. If you're racing all the time, you've got to allow recovery time, and then you've got to, depending on the distance of the race, you might have a sort of either a taper or a build into the race. So you've got to allow for that as well. So if you're racing all the time, you can't do those tapers, or you can't do those recovery periods. So it's if you've got your A race later in the season, just make sure you prioritise the training over necessarily the racing. And if you do a race, maybe use it as part of a training session rather than trying to go all out in the race.
We very often find that athletes don't plan their races very well. So in terms of cramming too many in, or they're all kind of different distances and different types of race all mixed up together. And ideally, really, there would be some kind of proper kind of structure to it and an overview to it. So there is a kind of a journey, there is an aim there in the season. Otherwise, what we find is that athletes will basically bounce from one race to the other, and they effectively won't get any fitter or any stronger from the first race of the season right the way through to the last, because they're just bouncing between races. Or if anything, they can overtrain and start to go backwards a little bit. So you've got to be really careful with that. So if you're not sure, speak to your coach. Yeah.
And when you're planning your races before the season, don't put middle distance at the start and expect to be on top form for that. And then
that's the nature of the racing in the UK, isn't it? You have middle distances in kind of May, and then it can be difficult for people to kind of where to go from that, because you've built up and you're at that kind of level. Then you kind of end up with a bit of a hole afterwards sometimes. So just think about your races quite carefully. I mean, the way we train here is with that we take people through a progression of even long distance athletes will do sprint work and potentially do sprint races, and then onto standard, then onto middle, then onto long. It's like Ironman Lanzarote. If you're doing Ironman Lanzarote in May and you've got sprints straight after it, you might not be in the best position to do sprints, but got to think about these things, haven't you? Don't think there's anything else from me that we need to go through. Anything else from you, Corinne?
Nope.
No? All right. Well, kind of nice to see everybody. Can't really see anybody, but hope you enjoyed that. Well done again, everyone. Well done again to everyone that's been racing at the weekend. What have we got this weekend coming up? Anything?
I'm not sure this weekend, to be honest.
No.
Sorry, I should have checked that, shouldn't I?
No. Didn't mean to catch you out.
I'm sure there's I've
got no idea either.
I'm sure there's a few this weekend. So good luck anyone who's racing this coming weekend.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.